the graph of y equals ae to the bx plus c, where a, b and c are constants, is shown below. The graph passes through 0, negative 3, and y tends to negative 2 as x tends to negative infinity, which means that this is an asymptote here. Is b positive or negative? Justify your answer. Well, it is actually positive, and now I'm going to justify. If we think about the standard curve, which looks something like this, a b, which is negative here, would cause a reflection. Note that's the word reflection. Do not, under any circumstances, use the word flip when you mean reflection. It would give us a reflection here in the y-axis, but this one isn't reflected in the y-axis. If anything, it's reflected in the x-axis. And that's why this is positive, and that's the justification. We now want to determine the values of a and c. We can see that compared to the standard graph, if we reflect that in the x-axis, it's then been translated 2 units down, because y equals negative 2 is the equation of the asymptote. Note I use the word translated, not the word moved. So the value of c is, if we look where that is, negative 2, because it's 2 units down. It's moved 2 units down, translated 2 units down compared to the standard graph. And then if we think about the asymptote being here, this distance to the intercept is 1 unit. So that means that a must be negative 1. So it's merely reflected. There's no stretch involved. And when I say stretch, of course, I mean dilate. That's the proper word that you should use. So make sure you use correct terminology when you're answering this type of question. We now want to sketch this one on the graph above. Now, we rewrite in here, we can factorize there. And this negative 1 in here is a translation of 1 unit to the right. So what I was really looking for here was the same shape and it going through this point here, which is 1 unit to the right. It doesn't go up there at all. It's still going to go in to the same asymptote. So you didn't need to draw a really long section. You just needed to get roughly the shape and it going through that point.